We're visiting the OSU Teaching Greenhouses, visiting with Dr. Bruce Dunn. Bruce, can you tell us a bit about care for poinsettias once we take them home?
Okay, so yeah, that's the important part of it. I'd say water is probably the #1 issue that people have to deal with as far as determining when to give the poinsettias water and probably about how much water to give them as well.
Yeah, they're pretty sensitive. They'll droop quite a bit if you don't keep them well watered.
Right, so some people can actually look at them like this one over here. You can see that the bracts and the leaves are kind of drooping down a little bit compared to the other ones. And if you actually look at the soil, if you take it out of the pot itself, you can see that it's fairly dry as well. Okay.
And a lot of times the poinsettias are sitting in a foil wrap, but if we water them in that, then you have all that water collecting in the bottom, the plant's just sitting in that. That can't be good for the roots.
Right, so that's an important tip. So if they come with the foil hat, at the base of those, whenever you water those, make sure to remove that foil hat. And when you water them, go ahead and soak all the way through the media itself. So give them enough water that you see water come back out. It's not very good that if you give them just a little bit of water, then maybe some of those roots won't get enough water.
So hold them over the sink. That's what I usually do. Bring them to the kitchen sink and water them until water's running through the bottom of the container.
And then you can put the hat back on after it's finished watering. But if not, then you have capillary action and it's going to pull that water back up into that plant. It's going to stay wet and eventually it's going to rot out. Okay. And I've got a plant here. And so a lot of the symptoms, so this kind of looks like one that's maybe wilted. So that's another important thing to consider, is that take a look at it as well. But you can see that down here in the media itself, it's wet. The pot itself is pretty heavy compared to that one over there that was really light. The media is darker as well, so you can see that it is pretty wet. So in this case, if you flip this pot over, and a lot of these roots in here are brown, and so this one's actually rotted out, so it has stayed too wet.
And you can see in this one the nice white color of a healthy root. It's a little,
Right. So it's important to look at the plant, and even though it starts to droop a little bit, is to understand, make sure that it's drooping because it doesn't have enough water, not that it has too much water in it.
So other than water, what is kind of the environment, the ideal environment for the plants once we bring them into the house?
Okay, so these are tropical plants. They're from Mexico, but they do like typical house temperatures, about 65 to 75 degrees. Okay. The important thing is to keep them away from any kind of drafts. They don't like anything cooler than about 50 degrees.
So we don't want to put them right in the window. And also not just for the drafts, but they don't want that direct light, more of an indirect light.
Correct. So they prefer about 6 hours of indirect light, and it depends on where your light source is located. So if you have southern windows, they're going to get a little bit more light than if you have north windows or east or west facing windows.
Okay, so we just want to be careful, keep them back far enough that they're not right in the sunlight, but getting plenty of light throughout the day.
Correct.
All right. So all the plants surrounding us are for your greenhouse production class, and of course you always try different varieties. Do you have any that kind of catching your eye this year?
I do have some different ones. Of course, we have the traditional reds that people like. I think about 80–90% of sales are the reds, but we also do have some of the specialty ones or the colored poinsettias as well. Okay,
what are some cultivars that have caught your attention this year?
All right, so some of the different colored cultivars that we have, of course, we have an orange one called Orange Spice. White's pretty popular as well. It's, I think Peter Star White. Winter Rose is popular. Looks like a rose. It's red colored. A new one that I'm looking at this year that did well in the trials was this Premier Ice Crystal, which is kind of this, it's like a light red and kind of white to it. It's going to replace the Ice Punch cultivar that we used to grow. Tapestry, it's a variegated variety, so people seem to like it as well.
All very beautiful, and of course all these plants are going to be available for sale to the public. That's the primary fundraiser for your program. Tell us when this year's plant sale is.
So it's always the Thursday and Friday after Thanksgiving, the week after Thanksgiving. So this year it's December 4th and December 5th. Students grew a lot of great poinsettias this year, and then they've also grew a few other specialty crops, some Gerbera daisies, begonias, cabbage, and dianthus as well that we'll sell.
All right, and that begonia is absolutely beautiful. So wonderful selection available. We'll encourage all of our viewers to come on out and support the program.
All right, thanks for coming down.
Thank you.